Hope everyone's doing really well. Today is Friday, March 20th, 2020. Can't believe you've been out of school for 3 days already. Up, here comes the king. Let's see. There he is. Do you see him? Say hi, buddy. What is it? You can't cry at me right now. See? That's what I have to deal with all day long. What? Don't bark. I have to teach. I know. There's Oliver being crazy. I have to teach. I gotta teach. I'm sorry. I can't play with you right now. So, see? What? What is it? Say hi to the kids. Don't bark at me. All right. So, today is day 3. I need to teach. Stop it. Hello, Bubbush. Okay. All right. So, today's day 3. If you guys have any questions, please make sure that you are posting the questions in Google Classroom. Come on, are you coming up here? What are you doing? Okay, you're posting the questions in Google Classroom. Google Classroom isn't for chatting. I would love to sit and chat with you guys all day long, but that's not what it's there for, okay? So please, anytime you have questions or anytime that you need help with something, post to Google Classroom or email me. So what we're going to do today is we're going to start reviewing with comparing and contrasting. Okay, so Miss Peterson is going to do a model for you, and then you'll do an independent practice. I'll show you guys over here. Oh, I got to go back and I got to fix some stuff. But you'll see right here where it says guided practice. That's when Miss Peterson will help you. Oh, do you guys hear Oliver drinking out of the toilet? I don't know if you can hear him. And then here's the independent practice. So this is when you'll be doing it by yourself. So you'll see in these little red squares, I'm trying to make it a little bit easier for you guys to know what you need to do versus what Miss Peterson does. So we'll go from there. Okay. So we're going to compare and contrast. And remember, when we learned about compare and contrast a few weeks ago, comparing and contrasting is seeing how things are alike and how they're different. So when you compare, you're going to see what's the same and what's different. We have keywords. Oliver, no. We have keywords that tell us when things are the same. Both, as, like, have in common, alike, similar, the same. When you are seeing how they're different, how you contrast, you can see they use although, but, instead, contrary to, opposed. So let me show you how we're going to compare and contrast. So Miss Peterson's going to do this one, and then you guys are going to do the next one independently. So here I go. Drastically different deserts. What do you picture when you hear the word desert? Many people would think of a hot, dry place. However, deserts are not all the same. Antarctica and the Gobi Desert are 2 deserts that are cold. Climate. Both Antarctica and the Gobi Desert have a dry climate. So again, there's my key word, both. You might be surprised to learn that Antarctica is considered a desert at all, since it seems to be covered in snow. How could it be a desert with all of this moisture? Most parts of Antarctica only get a few inches of snow each year, but the snow builds up and rarely melts. The Gobi Desert also receives a little bit of snow. So my key word right there was also. Oh, look, hold on. It's because I'm not paying attention to him. Okay. The size. The two deserts differ in size. Antarctica is the biggest desert in the world. In contrast, so again, that's how it's different, the Gobi Desert is not as big as Antarctica, but is becoming more dry and is growing. Now, remember, if I need to zoom in, I click my zoom button and I can zoom in. The wildlife. Animals have to be tough to survive in the challenges of desert life. Antarctica supports very little life, but penguins do survive there. The springtail is an insect-like animal that can also survive in Antarctica. The Gobi Desert supports different animals, including snow leopards and camels. So remember with our text features, we learned, so here's a picture of a penguin, there's a picture of a springtail, here's a snow leopard. Miss Peterson is not the snow leopard, that's the snow leopard. And here is, we got the camels. Oh, see, Miss Peterson's still figuring it out too. We got the camels, and then here is a map of the Gobi Desert. And I can see that it's located in China, which is on the continent Asia. So now I'm going to go to my next slide. And remember, this is Miss Peterson's copy. So you don't have to do this. You'll notice that Antarctica, I can put my answers for Antarctica in this text box, both of them, and then the Gobi Desert. So as I was reading, I took some notes, right? I took notes to see what I was going to write. That's why you guys have your notebook. So as you're reading, you can write how they're like and how they're different and take notes. So I know that both of them, both Antarctica and the Gobi Desert, are dry. They get snow. And I'm going to go back in the text, and that they are cold. So they're dry, there's snow, and they get cold. Antarctica, let's see here. Antarctica is the biggest desert in the world. Oopsies. In the world. Okay. It has penguins. Let's see, what else does it have? Let's see. That's different. So now let me look here. I have, I hate when that happens. I have that Antarctica supports very little life. So I have supports very little life. And now I can go over to the Gobi Desert. I'm going to move myself back down. And I can say it's smaller. It supports many. So I want to make sure I get my text evidence right. So it supports many different animals. And it has camels, snow leopards there, right? So there I have my comparing and contrasting. Antarctica is being compared to the Gobi Desert. On my one side, I have how Antarctica is different than the Gobi Desert. And in the middle, I have how they're both alike. So now this is what you are going to do. Here is your independent practice. You are going to write about how zoos have changed. Read the passage 2 times. Okay, then you're going to highlight the answers to each question as you find them. Now, we know that since we're doing this Google Classroom, it's hard for you to highlight. So that's why I told you guys to get your notebooks so that you can write notes as you're reading. All right, so we're going to be comparing zoos when they started and zoos now. The first zoo was started in 1752. In the beginning, the animals lived in cages that were not comfortable for animals. The focus on the zoo was for people to see different animals from around the world. The animals' comfort was not thought about. They also would capture these animals to put into zoos. They would do things like take the babies from their moms in the wild to bring into a zoo. Now, I have how zoos are now. That's what I'm going to read next. Zoos have changed since the first zoo. The animals now live in areas that are like their home. People try to make the zoo a comfortable place for the animals. The zoos are also used to help protect animals that are in the wild. Many injured animals are at a zoo to be taken care of. They use the money from the zoo to help protect the animals that still live in the wild. The zoo is also used to let people know how to protect animals in the wild. So now your job, boys and girls, is to sort your text evidence. I think I'm going to give you guys your text evidence. I'll have you read it again. I'm going to have you try to do this on your own. All right. If you're struggling, reach out to me. I will help you, but I know that you guys are capable. So if you need to replay this video, you can move it up. I'm going to post it to YouTube so you know that you can move it to where you need it to be so that you can hear me read it again. Okay? This is your independent practice. How zoos have changed. That's what you're going to do. You're going to fill in your answers here. Now, this is they didn't listen. You're going to listen to me read it, and then you're going to answer the questions. Grayson had begged his mom to take his friend Eli and himself to the zoo this weekend. She finally agreed after he begged for 3 days. When they got to the zoo, the alarm was going off. They did not know what the alarm was for. Then a worker came on the speaker. They yelled, "An animal got loose! Please leave the zoo quickly!" Grayson and Eli ran into the zoo looking for the animal. Grayson's mom ran after them, telling them to stop. They saw the giraffe walking down the sidewalk. They laughed and watched. When their mom got to them, she grounded them for not listening to the zookeeper. So now, right over here, it says, "What's the problem in the story?" You can look and see the directions say move the red dot over the correct letter for answer 1. What was the problem in the story? A, they wanted to go to the zoo on the weekend. B, the zoo was busy. C, Grayson and Eli did not listen. D, the animals were all running around. So then you would take your circle and you would move it over to the correct answer, right? Could either be A, B, C, or D. And you'll notice that you can even make the circle smaller, right? So there you go. Now it says retell the story in one sentence describing the beginning, the middle, the end. So here's your example. In the beginning, Grayson begged to go to the zoo with his friend Eli. When they got there, okay, and then you're going to finish the rest. Now, question 3. How did the end of the story solve the problem for question 1? Use evidence in the story to support your answer. So now, the end of the story resolved the problem because. Then you're going to fill in the answer. All right? So, again, if you guys need help with any of this part, this is our part 1. Replay the video, message me on Google Classroom, send me an email. Remember, you do not have to do this slide, right? This was Mrs. Peterson's slide. This was her showing you what you have to do. Your job is to do how the zoos have changed, and they didn't listen. All right? I'll talk to you guys in a few minutes when we do writing. All right?